Hey, this is Sasha, and in today's video, I want to share with you how you can write your title better for search engines, meaning for your blog post. Now, this isn't about writing your metadata title or your meta description. It's about writing the title and looking for the appropriate title for your page. Now, for many people, they just create a page and call it the About Me page or the Portfolio page. But that's not necessarily the type of title you should be using on your pages. Instead, you might want to get a little more specific, such as graphic design portfolio page, or split those pages up into multiple pages. So you might have business card design portfolio, or website design portfolio, or a postcard design portfolio. So as you start getting more specific, it allows the search engines and also your users to better navigate your website and rank those pages higher. Now, if you're having a blog or if you write for a blog, you're going to constantly be creating new titles for the content that you're creating. And it's important that you know and understand how to properly title those things, or at least have those things in the back of your mind so that way you can somewhat focus on them. Now, for some people, they're very meticulous about how they title things within their blog posts and within those titles. Other people are a little more loose and relaxed. Keep in mind that you can be more loose and relaxed, especially if you're more popular. But if you're looking to get ranked higher in the search engines, it's better to be more specific. Specificity is key when it comes to proper titling. So if we take a look at this page right here, you'll see that once we're scrolling through it, and what I've done is actually just search for Countryman B3, which is a microphone, you'll see that there's different titles that show up within these listings or results. So for example, this blue part right here is a title. Another one is right here's a title, and you can see that this first one that's ranked high, not the ad up here, but the first one that's actually ranked fairly well actually is the Countryman B3 page. So you can see that link and URL. So those keywords are going to get ranked really well because it's on its own domain. These are popular websites and very specific to this microphone. So in either case, as I look through this, these would probably be the keywords that I want to target in my post. Now keep in mind, you don't want to just keyword spam your titles because that might not be what your post is ultimately all about. It might not be buying the Countryman omnidirectional lavalier microphone. Instead, it might be something like a comparison. Like here on this video and this listing, you can see here's the Countryman B3 versus the Sennheiser ME2 lav mic. So there's a lot of different types of posts that you could be doing, even though you might be writing or creating a post or content about the microphone. Now here in my example, I actually already have a post and a video for this microphone. So if you take a look right here, there's already a post there, and it's basically a test and review of the microphone, which is exactly the one that I'm using right now. And if you look at this, I've already somewhat written the headline for this, but we can tweak it. You can tweak it just slightly if you like. So what I've done here is I've written Countryman B3 lav mic microphone review and test. Now, just to give me some space here, what I'm going to do is put that primary title. You could use one or two or multiple titles right there at the top, just so I don't lose it, so I can reference it back later. So what did they wrote? They wrote B3 omnidirectional lavalier microphone lavaliers. So those are the keywords that they're kind of targeting on those primary listings. So as I go ahead and look at my headline, okay, so I look at my headline, Countryman B3 lav microphone review and test. Mine, I'm not really selling the microphone. So comparing these two differences, I might want to tweak mine, my title. So I might do something like Countryman B3 omnidirectional lav microphone or lav mic. Let's see, microphone might be better. And then I'll still keep mine review and test. I could also put the review and test at the beginning, but since the primary focus that I want to hit is the Countryman B3, I want to put that at the beginning. So basically what I've done is added this omnidirectional to this beginning. So that's what I'm going to do. I think that might be a little bit better. It'll target an extra keyword right there. I don't want it to be too spammy. If I didn't have review and test, and just had Countryman B3 omnidirectional lav microphone, it might, the Google or search engines might interpret this as a buying or selling page, but in fact, if we add in the review and test, this might be a little more specific to what it is. If I change things around and did more like this, let's say review and test of the Countryman lavalier microphone, this might get a little lengthy and it's just covering too much ground, and my primary keywords are not at the beginning. In addition, I also have these of the keywords right there that usually don't get scanned or picked up, but they do take up space in the title as people are searching through Google. So again, that's kind of a little bit of a concern for me. So instead, I'm focusing on my primary word keywords that I'm targeting right there at the beginning. If I wanted to spell out lavalier, I could. That is another option, but now the question becomes, is it too long or lengthy? That's something you need to personally decide. Also how important or relevant it is. If I wanted to, I could say, okay, well, let me spell out lavalier, but then change the microphone to mic, because now it becomes a little more important for the lavalier, because that might be what people are searching for. So I could do it that way, and let's just take a chance, because with search engine optimization, all you're doing is you're constantly tweaking things, you'll play with things, and you'll slowly adjust. Now with the titles, I usually don't adjust them too often. Once I kind of set them, they're usually good to go, because then people come back to those things time and time again. And when they come back to those, they recognize the titles. So for me, I don't want to make those changes all the time to where, people are constantly not finding the information that they need. So in this case, in this situation, you write it out and you kind of set it and you forget it. But you try to do your best at the beginning. Now with the SEO titles right here, with the metadata, meta titles, meta descriptions, those you can change periodically, because those are more for search engines and exactly what shows up there at the top. But here for our headline, this just affects our headline for our main title right here at the top. So although it's good to have great keywords there because it is important, it's not that important to the point where the search engines are constantly going to make little tweaks and changes all the time to your rankings simply because you change one word here or there. It'll slowly affect those things, but you don't want to be too obsessive about it to the point where you're just wasting time consistently every day tweaking these rankings and where you could be doing things that are more productive. So do your best, spend a few minutes, set a title, leave this alone. As far as doing the meta title, which we'll talk about here shortly, these things you can change more periodically, meaning every 6 months, do 1 or 2 changes. And then again, you would probably leave it and not go back and touch it, because if you're really worried about your rankings, you might just go back once, make an adjustment, and that would be it from that initial point of writing it. So anyways, so here we have our title. We're good to go. If I want to double check the spelling, I could go ahead and double check the spelling. You can see here the lavalier microphone is spelled out. Sometimes some of them will use a lav, L-A-V, L-A-V. So I could do that way, microphone or mic. Again, totally up to you. You try the rankings, you set them up. Once you have them, once you have these kinds of titles, then you kind of set them, leave them, let them be, see how they rank, and then make maybe one change, and that's it. Okay, so here, let me make my final change. So there we go, and now I'll just hit the update button right there. Once I hit this update button and it gets updated on the page, what you'll notice is the change right here. If I refresh, you can see it adds in that additional keyword, spells out the lavalier. I have the mic, review, and test. And there we go. My page is good to go. The title is set. The next step would be to look at actually what's set up as far as the meta title for search engines and the meta description, which we'll talk about next. However, this is what I look at when I'm looking for writing good quality titles or headlines. It doesn't matter if you're writing the About Us page, a training page, a Start Here page. This is what I look at when I'm writing a good headline within the page. This goes along the same lines of when you go through, let's say, your blog post, and you're looking through some of these blog posts. We'll just pick one a little bit further down. You can see how many of them are fairly detailed. How to get a cheap or low cost. You can see how I've done two keywords there, cheap and low cost. Some people are looking at cheap ebook covers or low cost ebook covers. And then this is also a Photoshop tutorial. So again, here's another one, how to create a powerful email lead magnet to build your list. They're very specific. It's not just how to build your email list. It's not just that, because that's not specific enough, because there's thousands of ways to build an email list. But in this case, it's about creating a powerful email magnet to build that email list. So think about these things in mind as you're building out your content and as you build out your headlines within the pages. Even as you go within these posts, you might have little subheadlines, and that's ultimately what you're thinking about. So thanks for joining me in this training video. If you enjoyed it and you want to join me on some of the other exclusive content that I have, along with some of the live classes that I host, go ahead, click this link right here. When you click it, enter your name and email address, and you'll be added to the newsletter and notified as those things are released or come up. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.